Hello everyone. My name is Paula Magalhães. I welcome you in name of Experience Agile Conference to today's webinar. So today's webinar is with Annika Steiber and Antonio Boadas, and this is the last webinar of the Experience Agile Week webinar edition. For those who don't know this conference, the Experience Agile Week is a 4-day conference that happens every year in Lisbon. You can still join us. There are still last-minute tickets available. In case you join us, you will also be joining a group of Agile thought leaders, including Antonio Boadas that will be in Lisbon, Agile thought leaders, published authors, and experienced Agile practitioners between the 23rd and 27th of September. In the email after this webinar, you will get some information how you can register in the conference and also a discount code only for the webinar attendees. And now I leave you with Steve Denning, one of the Experience Agile Week mentors. Steve was not able to attend in person, to be here live in this webinar, but he has a very special message to our audience. Enjoy.
Good afternoon. I'm happy to introduce today my colleague and friend, Annika Steiber. I'm sorry I can't be with you today in person, but actually I'm on a plane crossing the Atlantic on my way to the World Agility Forum in Lisbon. Annika and I started working together because I discovered that she shared my view that digital age is not principally about digital technology. It's about a different way of managing an organization. And what she believes, and I believe, is that traditional management isn't flexible or agile or customer focused enough to cope with this and take advantage of this digital technology. She's one of the few people who grasp that you can buy the technology, but you can't buy the mindsets that are needed to take advantage of it. She understands that all companies are going to be disrupted by the new technology and the new way of managing. And she understands that the transformation journey is not easy or quick. It's going to be hard work, but it can be extremely satisfying to move from a mindset of control to a mindset of enablement. She is the Director of Partnerships and Innovation for the Rendanheyi Center at Menlo College. She has studied GE appliances in depth. She understands everything to know about their transformation journey. She will give you a wonderful account of how that journey took place and what are the key steps. Without further ado, here is Annika Steiber.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to start sharing my screen and say that I'm very honored to be here today. I'm soon going to present my co-presenter. So the focus today is leadership in the digital world, exactly the same as the book title, and more specifically, how on earth did GE Appliances, a 100-year-old company, manage to transform from zero to double-digit growth company? As you heard, I'm representing a center in Silicon Valley, California, and we are at a small campus called Menlo College. We offer the business skills and business management courses for the 21st century. Coming up soon, which I hope you also will get from the World Agile Forum, is a special discount for some courses coming up on how you can learn how to disrupt your own business and create more than 10x growth, and also how to build an ecosystem business. So we try to target the pillars of the new management model of the 21st century at our center. With me today, I have Mr. Antonio Boadas. And I will say he's a dear friend of mine at this point in time. I spent, I think, all in all 2 years to focus on GE Appliances. And over the years, I'm just more and more amazed over the company. He's a chief communication officer at GE Appliances, but more importantly, he played an instrumental role in GEA's transformation, and he played a fundamental role in the creation of the book. So next in this webinar, I'm going to start by setting the stage and give you my perspective and perspective. You already heard Mr. Denning referring to that we share the common view of the future, and I will give you part of that. And then we will listen to the true story by Mr. Boadas, and we will end with a small discussion and a Q&A. So there's a lot of things we're going to have time to do through just 60 minutes. So let's start. So you are all very experienced. I'm sure that you agree with me that the world had changed, expression mark. Equipping the organization to tackle the future would require management revolution. And this was said by Gary Howland 2009. And guess what? We are already in the management revolution and almost have passed it. So every company that have understood the pillars of this new management model are doing well. The companies that don't are lacking behind or even killed. In this new economy, in this new world, there are three questions that any executive, any board need to answer. The first one, in an age of change, how are you both fast and adaptable as well as focused and efficient? We know from traditional companies that we are excellent on focused and efficient, but we really are not very good at being fast and adaptable if we're honest with ourselves. But how can you do both? Because you need both today. Secondly, in the innovation economy, how do you innovate quickly and boldly enough? And now we don't talk about incremental innovation. We talk about how can you actually be the one disrupting your industry, not expecting the startup to do it for you, but you to be driving the change of the industry. And thirdly, in a creative economy, how do you inspire employees to bring initiative, ideas, and passion? It sounds easy, but it's not. And I think that most of you know that most people today, we have heard figures that up to 70, even more % of employees are totally disengaged in their work. And that is something we have to solve in this new economy. So 3 questions need to be answered. As I said, we are in a paradigm shift in management. And you could compare this and do an analogy with the climate change, where the traditional is the conservatives are fighting that there is no climate change. And the more intellectual, the more, forward thinkers understand that there is a climate change and we need to act. It's the same with management. There are fighters for the old model. Of course, we can have a bureaucratic organization. Of course, we need hierarchy. What else? How else would we do it? In the new management style, we talk about a whole different approach. We talk about a flat organization, decentralization of power, the utilization of everyone in the organization, and therefore also very big change in the top leaders' role. As I said, most companies, they're not able to change, and they are maybe not even aware of the new pillars of the new management model. So we can see this. We have data. We see how the lifespan of a company is just decreasing over the years, and have gone down from 61 years to maybe even 15 years today, not even 18 years. And the problem is that they die fast. If they do lag behind, it takes usually less than 10 years for them to die. You believe you have a lot of time, you don't. And this is research done by one of the most famous researchers in the field of ambidexterity and corporate culture, Charles O'Reilly from Stanford University. He looked at all those, and they all died, within 10 years. The problem is not that they don't change fast enough. They don't change. They can't change. So that is a problem. So the story about the GE appliances and how a 100-year-old company can transform in only 4 to 5 years is extremely important to the world and to any executive, to any board of director out there. Fortunately, we have already the new management model practiced. A lot of new companies and also old companies have got it. And this new model, it's fit for agility, speed, and constant innovation in a truly VUCA world. And the good news is that it's not only internet-based companies. It's not only software companies. It's hardware companies. Look at them. Haier, hardware company. Xiaomi, hardware company and software company. Tesla, hardware. GE Appliances, hardware. The time has ended where you can say, yeah, they're doing great over there, but we cannot compare ourselves to Google. No way. We're not an internet-based company. That time is over. So as you can see on this list, there are more and more companies joining this list of being the winners of the future. And what they got in common is that they got it, that is why and how and not what. First, they got the common factors, this new management principles. They understand the new pillars of the management model that is coming now for the 21st century. They all talk about the same thing. I've been analyzing, I've been interviewing more or less all of those companies, and they say exactly the same thing. The second thing is that they understand it's not what you offer that is a competitive edge. It's why you do it and how you do it that matters. It's how you structure and organize your way of working. We call it management innovations rather than technology innovation. As I said, GE Appliances is one of the traditional hardware company that got it. And as a result, they have been the fastest growing appliance company in the US in the last years. They won the Smart Home Appliance Company for 4 consecutive years, and they were certified as the best place to work by its own employees. The trigger, I wouldn't say that the only trigger for change was the acquisition by Haier. So Haier bought them in 2016, but it definitely played a fundamental role. Haier themselves had gone through a huge transformation. It's a Chinese multinational home appliance and consumer electronic company headquartered in Qingdao with over 100,000 employees and a market cap of $35 billion. 3.x Whirlpool Corporation, the biggest one in the US. How is that even possible? If you look at the figure here, you can see the price change of the stock. And as you can see, that something is happening here in 2010. And what actually happened was that they introduced a new management model called Rendanheyi. And it's not that odd as it may sound. Ren, Dan, Hu Yi stands for Ren is the people. Dan is the goal, focus on the user. They called it zero distance to the user. And Hu Yi is to connect the two. They understood in 2000 already, when the chairman and CEO visited the World Economic Forum, he got 4 key insights. 1, as a hardware company, we have to embrace the internet, or we have to become irrelevant. And not just embrace internet as the basic for your business model, but also for your organizational model. The organization becomes like the internet with businesses as nodes on the internet. Secondly, technology innovation is key and crucial to create new demand and market. Technology innovation drives the economic growth of a country and of any company. Third, people. Everyone are encouraged to innovate. And fourth, the culture. the culture should fulfill the own value. And that means fulfill own value is that if anyone has the boldness and the capability to become an entrepreneur, they should be able to be an entrepreneur. The company has to become a platform, an environment where you can foster more entrepreneurs and more entrepreneurial companies. And today, there is actually a Rendanheyi certification. So one thing that our scientists also do is to train coaches that want to coach organization to become as successful as this company and as a GEA. And you can today be certified in Rendanheyi. What was fascinating to me, not only to me, but also to a Professor Edgar Schein, that is the very father of organizational behavior, organizational development, and corporate culture, is how General Electric Appliances in 2016 focused on cost efficiency, had a top-down command control leadership, had a tall and standardized and well-structured organizational structure, and more or less had no focus on organization innovations or management innovations. If you compare that to 2021, you see that the company is now focused on growth, on delegating and coaching leadership, on a flatter, semi-structured, flexible organizational structure, and they are heavily focused on organization innovations. On an annual basis, they're focusing on new changes for every year, improving their way of working. There's no other word for that than they have become a whole different company. In fact, most professional, academic, and intellectual would say it's absolutely impossible to do this change in 4 to 5 years, but they did it. We coded their journey, not me only. Antonio Boadas played a crucial role in this. The book can be found on Amazon, and here I can say I'm ending my part by giving you a quote from Edgar and Peter Schein from the foreword. The higher GEA appliance story embodies critical lessons and principles for 21st century business leaders and students of management and innovation. It forces us to rethink everything, to re-emerge as something better, more competitive, more profitable, and designed for the next century. Edgar and Peter Schein, 2022. And with that, I want to give the floor to Antonio Boadas that will tell you the true story from within. Welcome, Antonio. And now you're muted.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Annika. Thanks so much for introducing me and for sharing so much knowledge to start up with this conversation. I want to confirm you can see my slide before I go on. Yes, perfect. Thank you all for joining today. I know we are the last thing that you will do before you go either home or to the bars in Europe, or the last thing you will do before you go for lunch if you are in the East Coast in the US, or the last thing you will do before you go for lunch if you are in the West Coast in the US. So in any way, so we are the last thing that you'll hear before you go on with something else. And I guess I have three missions today. One it is very clear. I want to make sure that you guys attend the Agile Forum next week, and to make sure that you know that on the 23rd, Kevin Nolan and some other keynote speakers will be sharing the GA story as well. And I'll be there. I won't be on stage, but I'll be available for all of you if you choose to attend and you have more questions after that. My second mission is to make sure that you guys read Annika's book. This is a labor of love and a commitment, and she codified something that we couldn't have done better because we don't know how to call out what we're doing. We are just doing it. We are practitioners. We're not scholars, and it is a privilege to have been codified by Annika and her thoughtful approach to teaching and to collecting the information of what is happening here at GA. And the third mission that I have today is, I believe you are convinced that change is possible. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here in this webinar. But I want to give you some tools and some additional beliefs that will make you feel comfortable with the idea that, yes, we can change and help changing companies, and we can create better workplaces for everyone, and we can start treating people as people, and we can have fun at work. And this is what we have done so far in at GE Appliances. My role and my life actually changed when I joined GE Appliances. I worked for many corporations, and I just worked for many corporations. Now I'm breathing and living change. I'm enjoying my time working for this company. I feel that I'm living a dream, living in a Harvard Business Review case. It's a company that is actually becoming a book, or many books, or many cases. Why is that? Because I think we found the formula of how to change and how to become what we believe we should have been forever, which is a cool place, a good company that make good things, but also treat people with respect and experiment with new ideas and new ways of doing things. The first thing we did, we found a way to unlearn, which is difficult to say, and it's kind of weird to actually practice. We've been learning stuff for 100 years, and one day to another we say, let's unlearn and let's reset our hard drive, because what we have learned probably is not so relevant anymore. And as part of the context, and I won't bother you with history, but this company was founded by Thomas Edison. So the guy who, for many, invented the light. He didn't invent the light, but the light bulb, and there are some controversies on what he invented actually, but doesn't matter. So he's the name behind many of the biggest inventions in the 20th century. And he created this company. He was the entrepreneur behind that. We are now backed by Haier, but the core of this story is that despite this brilliant and amazing origin, we lost our way. We became bureaucratic. We became boring. We became a shadow of our past. We were ashamed of what we became because we forgot that we were serving a market. We thought we were serving our bosses. That we forgot that innovation is something that you do with your consumers. You don't isolate yourself to innovate. We started serving ourselves versus serving the market. So we became something we didn't want to be, and actually we didn't feel comfortable in this body. So no significant innovation, lost contact with our consumers, and we became very bureaucratic. But that was not a fun place to be, and as a result, we were basically losing our shirt. So we are not making any money, and it was not cool to be here. Haier came, and I don't want to portray Haier as a savior here. So I just want to show that change happens for different reasons. Sometimes you change because you choose to disrupt yourself. Sometimes you change because somebody else disrupts you. In our case, it was both. In our case, we were disrupted by the market, but also we were disrupted by our new owner, which was Haier, who showed us a different way. And what they taught us was, you can do better. You don't need to change many things. We just need to rethink the way you are approaching the market and start believing on yourself and believing that when you get closer to your consumers, good things happen. Make sure that you understand that people want to create value. And that value is something that your consumers, your users are expecting from you. When you connect the value you create to the value that your consumers are expecting, magic happens. And this is pretty much what is behind this philosophy, the zero distance philosophy, as Annika was referring to, Rendanheyi. It's a Chinese word, but the meaning is so profound and universal that it's basically, it means that serving people the way they want to be served, and fulfilling your dreams the way you want to fulfill them. As a result, and I'm not preaching here, but I'm so happy to be able to report that after having a very somber and not really happy life, we are growing double digit, which is it's a very clear indication that we are growing fast, but even better, we're growing faster than our competitors. So we're growing share every day and every night through each of what we call the macro enterprises, which in a different world are like the business units or the product lines. So these are results that are very concrete. We're winning. And how come we went from not winning to winning? We follow what we call the GA model, which is not a model, basically it's our best practice, and it is inspired on the Rendanheyi philosophy. 4 big elements here, which are not dissimilar to what Annika was showing in her previous slide. The first one is basically defining your reason to exist. Is why are you here? What are you doing what you're doing? Shocking enough, GE Appliances, which is a big name in the US, and I'm sure you have heard about it as GE in Europe and in Portugal, it's a well-renowned brand, and that not having a real goal, not having something well articulated, and why are we here for? What are we aiming? Is a little bit sad. So basically, the first thing we did is we declared that we wanted to become the leading company in the US. So it's just something that we can get energy from. Like, we want to win. Let's do it. That thing was very helpful. That's our first lesson. Having a good goal, something that is challenging but achievable, that helps a lot. The second one is what we call killing the traditions. And killing the tradition, probably the word killing is too harsh. But what we meant by this is we wanted to make sure that we understood that the culture is something that is critical to be shaped and help people to navigate towards the new reality. In the past, because we were part of a large corporation, corporate was our boss. Basically, we're here to serve people who didn't sit in this building, so they sat in a headquarters building in a different city, in sometimes in other companies in a different country. So we were serving them instead of serving those who are paying for the goods, for the services, or for the products that we offer them. So that now we transition it. Our user, which is our consumer, is our boss. So he's the one or she's the one who indicates the direction the company should be taking. We're playing safe. Basically, we're playing not to lose. We're not taking any risk. And then we say, like, no, we're here to win. If we want to become number one, there is no other way than like the next line, leading the competition instead of waiting for somebody else to do what that we think we should be doing. The next one is, so we were basically focused on developing products and basically pricing them at the right level. And this is the way we communicated our positioning in the marketplace. And we shifted that. We came to the realization that when you buy a kitchen, you're not buying a kitchen. You're buying the experience of cooking meals and sharing meals with your family and your friends. So it's offering solution experiences versus selling hardware was something that was important for us. We embrace a culture of experimentation, and this will answer some of the questions that Annika had in her first 3 slides. It's just like making sure that we were open to experiment, to fail, and to learn. And finally, treating people as humans, right? Treating people with respect. That's what we call entrepreneurs, letting people follow their dreams, letting people contribute with their value, letting people offering what they have to offer instead of us telling them as managers every single day what they're supposed to do and not to do. So moving into a new set of behaviors was a critical step that we took and was an important intervention. The third one was define bureaucracy, and bureaucracy is basically what we created for many years to control people and to making sure that all of our results were predictable because we were following the playbook that was written in the past. So it is like a guiding the future, but with a very anthropologic view of the world. And this is what bureaucracy ended up being for us. It was basically the way for us to please the past versus serving the future. And the levels of control and standardization were taking away the joy of creating and serving our consumers. So we split the company into very small business units that we call micro enterprises. So in the past, we used to have every single product line, every single service, everything was reporting into one head or two heads. Now we turned each of every one of these small business units into their own micro enterprises, into their companies. And that level of independence came with the accountability for many leaders to be the owners of those businesses, to be accountable and to be closer to the consumers and the customers they serve. Breaking down bureaucracy and define bureaucracy was a critical step as well. And the other piece here was rewards. If you think that your compensation is something that is already there, so therefore you don't need to sweat or push forward, so probably you will become complacent. So our principle here with the Rendanheyi is that our users, our consumers, pay for our salaries. So if we don't sell, we don't get paid. If you have a coffee shop, if you don't sell coffee, you don't get paid. In corporations, sometimes this is not the case. You kind of procrastinate a little bit, you don't do what you're supposed to do, and you get paid anyway. That is not the way things should be, and we learned that. Compensation should be tied to your results, individual results, team's results. So what you do should be seen, and as you should see the impact it has in the marketplace, and then as a retribution, you'll get the compensation that you have. And obviously, this is following the different rules and the different norms in the different countries. The way it is executed in China is different than the way it is executed in the US or in Europe today. Because so we have different labor rules and labor relations, but the notion that you are getting paid for what you do and the value you create is a critical one. And transparency is that the salaries and compensation shouldn't be a black box, and company results shouldn't be a black box. Even if you are not publicly listed, employees and entrepreneurs should know how the company is doing and how their contribution is having an impact in the end results. And one of the last few slides that I have for you today is something that we have been codifying recently, and it is what else did we change? So we changed the way we lead, and there's so much here, and there's so many layers that we can talk for hours, and if we happen to be together next week in Lisbon, so let's spend some time on it. Because what we are saying here is that the CEO, even though he continues having a very large office, his responsibility is quite different. The CEO is not to serve, is not here to be served. It is a role that is here to serve and to unleash this human creative freedom. And by human creative freedom, we mean that energy that we all have, that is what is making us be here together. It is this curiosity of learning more and this energy of doing more and different, and to co-create, just like to remove the barriers that are preventing us from getting together with our consumers and to develop new appliances or to develop new solutions. So his role is a facilitator, he's an orchestrator, he's an architect. The leaders, people like myself, I guess, and the micro enterprise leaders and some of the other senior managers in the old nomenclature, what we need to create is a psychologically safe work environment. Because that idea that I learned when I was a kid, that failing is not so good and not okay, but you can fail and learn. It's not clear. So sometimes we know that we make a mistake, we'll get a hammer that will tell you and remind you that you did poorly. What we need to do here, and what we do here, is creating the conditions for people to fail, for people to make mistakes. Because honestly, if you don't try hard enough, probably you will never learn anything, and the risks of getting it wrong are very high. So just like trying and experimenting and being open with your opinion, being candid with your opinion, being transparent. That requires creating a psychologically safe environment, which is not easy to create because we all love power, because we all love getting things right. But honestly, this is probably one of the key learnings for management, how to create a better workplace environment where people can feel comfortable trying and making mistakes. For the entrepreneurs, for the employees, to convince ourselves that we are not employees anymore, that we also own this company, even though we don't have shares, that we own our ideas, that we're here to experiment and create and change and create value. It's a challenge, but it's a journey. It's beautiful. And the last one is sorry about that. Is co-creating and joining ecosystem with our consumers. Is letting consumers understand that our doors are open, and you can believe that we are listening carefully to you. One very quick example: we have a visually impaired, a blind person who complained very recently about our ovens because of also about our washers for the laundry, and that individual complained because when you rotate the knob in the washer, well, you don't know if this is the cycle for whites, colors, or cold temperature, whatever it is. We know it because we can see it. They can't see it. So that person complained, but then we were amazed by the complaint because that was beautiful. We called the person and we co-created a solution together, and this is called the talking laundry, and it's a technological solution. Like when you rotate the knob, it will tell you which cycle you are. It says white, color, whatever it is, right? So simple and sounds very stupid, but the beautiful thing here is that we co-created that solution with the consumer who was unsatisfied by the way we were creating our appliances. Helping people to understand that our doors are open to co-create is another challenge. Our leadership model is changing. As a result, and this is great news for us, it's pretty egocentric. No one cares about it, but we care. When we started this journey 5 years ago, one of the things that struck us and was just like very harsh was to realize that we were number 4 in the marketplace and we're about to become number 5. And there was a list that somebody published of the top appliance companies in the US, and they forgot us. We were not in the list because we became irrelevant. 5 years later, we became the number 1 appliance company in the US. We sold more appliances, more dollars than our competitors. That's pretty cool. It feels good. Doesn't mean anything for anybody else, but I'm happy with that. Lessons that we have learned. We have 2 more slides. We learned that, that leading goal, that become number 1 is what we want, is dated because we became number 1. So what is next? We need to come up with a new one. It is important that we co-create this with our entrepreneurs. We ask them, and then we drive change the way we all want to see it. We are a very traditional company. We were a very traditional company. I don't think we are anymore. We tend to go back, and I'll go back to that point, but it is not true that we changed for good and everything is perfect. No, not at all. Empower the employees to be who they are, and it is not that sentence that we read in the business magazine, like bringing your whole self to work, whatever. It's not that. It is about letting people to be people, and there's a reason why they went to the university to study something. So let them apply what they learn, and don't treat them as numbers. And the last one is change is super hard. Change is easy to talk about, and there are people, consultants, professors who are specialized on change management. They're excellent, and get one of them. But keep in mind that after they leave, things will go back. Why is that? Because there are some antibodies that have been created in the companies for years, which is called bureaucracy. So everything feels good, but not everything is perfect. Okay, I'm not here pretending that we are perfect, and I don't want to be perfect. In fact, I enjoy not being perfect. Those traditions that we talked at the beginning are very hard to eradicate. And because bureaucracy is deeply entrenched in our DNA. We do not have organizational charts. So I know I report into the CEO, but I don't have this, we don't have these trees with boxes and lines. We don't have any of this. But that doesn't mean that people do not think through these lines and through these boxes. So they still think that they have power over people. So this is part of the DNA. So actually the only power we have is power over our actions and our decisions. We shouldn't have power over people. That is a challenge. We have all bad days and good days, okay? So that's the reality this year, next year, and probably, I don't know, for how many more years, we're close to a recession in the US. I'm not gonna say like we're doing great. We're doing great under the current circumstances, but there are some bad days, and there will be darker days ahead. For sure there will be. The issue that we are and will be facing is there will be people who will try to go back to the playbook, to the old playbook, to what they did 25 years ago. How do we avoid that from happening? That is a challenge. When we co-create, when we invite other people to our shop, we need to be very transparent, but we need to be willing to hear the feedback. We will need to be willing to change because we don't own the truth. Realizing for an American company that was a staple of creativity and management, to hear from other people that we made a mistake, that we're wrong, and that somebody is better than us, is hard. So vulnerability and transparency and just like having that openness to listen, to understand and change, it's hard. And the last one is humility. I don't think in the past we have equated leadership and humility. Leadership is more about ego, or at least this is what I was taught. Leadership and humility comes together because you are serving others, because you are here to really learn from each other and enable others. You are the heart and the soul of the organization. You represent so many people that you need to be willing to listen, to understand, and make the changes people are asking you to make. So these are the things that we are experiencing right now. It sounds a little bit spiritual and probably esoteric for any business conversation, but I think this is a human ecosystem. So this is not a company with parts and systems. It is, but we're people, and the change was done by people, with people, through people, and for people. So therefore, we need to take care of each other, and that's what one of the principles that we follow here. And last but not least, one of my missions. Okay, I want you to read Annika's book, because I read the book and I extracted 4 quotes. I won't read the quotes, but what amazes me here is that the wealth of knowledge and insights that you will find in this 150 pages that she put together. So very cool stuff. This is some of our story. You can hear more about it in Lisbon next week. But if you don't have the chance to be in the conference, read the book and then give me a call or give Annika a call if you need to hear more from us. With this, I will stop sharing my screen and I will get some water and give the stage back to you, Annika.
Thank you. Amazing as always. You know, I'm sitting there taking notes. You know, still I learn every time I listen to you. Fantastic. So you know, so I want to start with some questions to you, and then I would love you participant to come in with questions. I'm totally sure that you have a lot of important questions to ask. One is that I want to ask is that I have an experience and I have a pretty clear picture that might be wrong, but my picture right now is that there is a lack of boards, and I'm referring to boards because in that case of Hire, the board, the owner was actually coaching you. providing you with their insight about where does the management model need to go, how does it need to change, what could be the better way in order to reach the number one in the marketplace. Today I don't really see many boards that are pushing those kind of management changes, organizational changes, which might explain one reason for why there is not more urgency among organizations, large firms, to actually do anything. How would you reflect on that? How do you react when I say that? You're muted.
Yeah, my answer was perfect. Because we are right now transitioning between two generations. So what so many of the board members have seen is what we have done in the past, which is following the playbook and playing safe. There's an emergence of new leaders and new thought leaders and new scholars like yourself who are promoting a new different way of seeing the world. In our case, the only risk was not to change. So that was the worst risk we could take, because it was unavoidable. Not changing was basically going to perpetrate the wrong behaviors and the wrong ways of doing things. I think it's a matter of for the board to start this renewing their membership, and we will see it because there is a new generation that are no longer baby boomers who were in a very important time of our industrial revolution, and that there is a new wave of more nimble and more digitally savvy and more integrated leaders that hopefully will get to the boards, and more diverse boards that will offer new point of views. I believe that the future is bright. It is right around the corner. It's our job to help those board members to get inspired and to learn more about the possibilities.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that there should be more training of board of directors in those new management models. I think that would benefit a lot of companies. Okay, so we did get a number of questions here. Before I take my second one, I would like to ask you from Laura Gill. Antonio, who was the main internal promoter of this change? Was it at a C-level, middle level, or operational level?
All of the above. The main promoter was from the top. So everything was initiated from the top because that was what that was expected. So we were a very stable organization, and we were expecting our boss to tell us what to do. And our boss told us it is time to change. We applaud him. We offer like open arms. Yes, we want to change. Tell us how. And the answer was, tell me how. Basically, it was a co-created process with some guidelines that being more nimble and protecting the core and learning from each other. There were some guidelines, but it was initiated from the top. Then middle management took it, and then now operational management is reframing it. So I think it's a highly participatory model in which the initiation comes to the top, but it gets ignited by the middle management. And one of the reasons why it was so important and interesting to be managed that way. So we were able to perform this change and to harvest these results with almost the same people that were here before. So one of the easiest ways to change is changing people. And that's what happened when some managers and some new leaders come to the helm. They bring their own people, the people that worked for him or her in the previous company. We didn't do that. So we kept exactly the same team, and for the first 4 years, and I'll say, yeah, it remains the same. There are a few new voices here and there, but basically the same people. And then we asked that people, you can be the change you wanted to see before. So all these complaints that we had in the water cooler in the previous GE organization, why do we do this that way, whatever, that was our time to speak up and do it. And that was really liberating.
And what I love with this is that we also should remember, I referred to Edgar Schein many times in this presentation already. I mean, according to him, there's a number of insights that he got, true findings that he got from all his research. And one is that he talks about exactly how you did it. You start by layer by layer by layer. Of course, a change. I mean, the agile, for example, of Microsoft started more on an operational level, or in the best case, middle level. And then they were lucky. I mean, it was a change of leadership, CEO-ship, right? And he was supporting this. But if you want a true enterprise transformation in only 4 years, I think it's extremely hard to start from an operational view. It has to be involving the next layer that need to change, but it need to be, it need to have some a drive and an acceptance from the very top that this is needed to be done.
Yeah.
What do you think?
The change needs to come from the core, and so expecting someone who will tell you what to do and how to do it is probably one of the most damaging things for any organization. And I'll try to link this answer, because it's you asked a very complex question, to the question that we just received from the group. It's like, how do you unleash that organization, and what takes to unleash the organization? I think this is probably at the core of what Edgar Schein was talking about. It is a little bit about changing the mindset and changing these elements that drive the culture of the organization. When in the past, when somebody asks you, how do I do this? The expectation was that the boss will tell you exactly what you need to do and how you need to do it, and probably they'll pull a playbook from 1962. And that was it. And that was basically the voice of God. Right now, the answer is probably crossing your arms and like, you tell me. So what you think? So how do you want to change it? And then the challenge for us, let's say, for those who are getting the cross arms, is like, I never thought about the idea of me offering the solution. I've been asked to do my boss's job. Well, actually, no. I've been asked to do my job, because the reason why I'm here is because I add value. I create value. I'm here to create value. This mind, so
it's a mind shift change.
The mindset shift is the key here. It is helping each other to think differently about the role we play in this dynamic. And we are no longer in the recipient side of it. We're in the active side of it. And if we don't like something, we go and change it. That's something. Can we do that? Yes, you can. Why not? If you work for this company and you are creating value and you are zero distance to your consumer, your owner, you are serving them. Why wouldn't you do it?
Right. No, but it's an interesting thought that, it might be, driven from the top in the beginning initially. And then when people sort of grow into the new role of higher accountability and also new culture where you actually should be an entrepreneur, you should come up with own ideas. It's more of a mix. And so all further changes might come from more anywhere in the organization, really. It has to sort of shape this future animal. I mean, this is an infinite process, as Kevin Nolan label it. It's never stopped. So it might be initiated somewhere, but then to drive it, like, sustaining it, improving it, it needs initiative from all over, I assume. So we have a question about unlearning from Hunter Hastings. And before I read the question, I think what is relevant here again, if I go to Edgar and Peter Schein's framework, you talked about, Antonio, the importance of changing the culture, and then you mentioned the structure, the reward system, the leadership change. The Scheins, they discuss about a culture as a social culture and the technical culture. Right, the social culture is the behavior. The technical culture is everything that's sort of backing up that behavior. including, it could be an organization design change. It could be in reward compensation model change. So when we discuss in the context of unlearning, both from, a sort of social context, a change in behavior context, to change in the technical structure context. And now I will read a question, see what you answer. Can you say more about unlearning? What is the process? How do you identify things to unlearn, and how do you unlearn them?
Yeah, we decided to unlearn all the practices and the ways that were preventing us from being happy and doing what we believe we needed to do. And the intervention came in both fronts. Was in the structural front and the cultural front, in the visible and invisible front. In the visible one is, so one of the things that wanted to unlearn is that decision making comes from the top, and we were highly structured, and there was a process for decision making and presenting ideas. So in fact, back in the days, and probably some of you experience this today, the success of any project started with the successfully producing 7,000 PowerPoint slides to present it to the finance people. So this is an old practice that we unlearn. We no longer need to do that. We go more to a process similar to Shark Tank, in which you pitch the idea, and then eventually money will come, and then you'll take the risk, and probably you'll take a personal risk. We change that way. That's one, on learning and learning something else. On the cultural side, it's how we interact, the way we collaborate. We used to compete with ourselves and with each other. So we wanted to be faster and better than our neighbor here. So when we face the consumer and we see the consumer in their eyes, and we talk to them, well, your life changes, because you understand that what you're making is touching and serving other people out there. It's not about competing with your colleague. It is about serving more people. And honestly, that is another learning process, that I'm not competing with the crumbles of a role or more money. We are competing with other people, and probably not even competing. I think that the unlearning is that the word competing is no longer valid here. It is about serving, and it's about making people happy.
Right. And with that, our time is actually out. I would like to ask you, Antonio, one last thing, and then comment on one thing. You will be in Lisbon. I'm MU. I have 20 business leaders over here, so I have to stay here, but I will be online. But you will be there. Will you also give away some of the books?
Yes, yes.
Will they be able to get?
I'll bring some books. I'll bring some books, and they will be in my backpack, and then yes, absolutely.
So if they really target you really efficiently, you might be the happy one to get a book from Antonio.
Hit me and you'll get a book.
Right, and then don't miss Kevin Nolan's speech. He's an absolutely amazing speaker. And if you want to learn more about Rendanheyi as a management model and the pillars of Rendanheyi, you should look us up, the Rendanheyi Center or Rendanheyi Center at menlo.edu in Silicon Valley. We also study other leading companies in the world. We only study the leading companies, actually, and then we code them and we teach this out to anyone, boards of directors, executive business professionals that want to learn. So thank you with that, and thank you for listening.
Thank you
so much, Annika. Thank you so much, Antonio. You heard it. Antonio will be in Lisbon Friday next week. Don't forget to get your ticket in case you are not registered yet. 4 days of live interaction with the amazing, outstanding, and inspiring speakers as Antonio and as Annika. So thank you so much, and see you soon in Experience Agile Week. Take care.